The crisis on our southern border didn't happen overnight. It was a long time in the making. Our country has long served as a beacon of hope for migrants from around the world. A land of opportunity, millions flock to the United States each year in search of a better life. Overwhelmed by mass immigration from Europe and Asia, the United States began enacting immigration restrictions in the late 1880s. These restrictions were intended to protect American jobs and taxpayers, limiting laborer entry and denying entry to those unable to support themselves. Since then, illegal immigration has plagued the United States, reaching crisis levels on our southern border in recent decades. Today, there are anywhere between 10.5 and 12 million illegal immigrants living in the United States. Prior to 2015, politicians from both parties in Washington had expressed concern over illegal immigration and the state of our southern border.
I voted for a fence. I voted, unlike most Democrats, and some of you won't like it, I voted for a 700-mile fence. And let me tell you something, folks. People are driving across that border with tons, hear me, tons of everything from byproducts from methamphetamine to cocaine to heroin. It's all coming up through corrupt Mexico.
It will authorize some badly needed funding for better fences and better security along our borders.
Ours is a nation of immigrants. We're also a nation of law. Unfortunately, the United States has not been in complete control of its borders for decades, and therefore illegal immigration has been on the rise. We have a responsibility to address these challenges. We have a responsibility to enforce our laws. We have a responsibility to secure our borders. We take this responsibility seriously. This bill will help protect the American people. This bill will make our borders more secure. It is an important step toward immigration reform.
Secure our borders with technology, personnel, physical barriers if necessary in some places.
Not only in the states most heavily affected, but in every place in this country are rightly disturbed by the large numbers of illegal aliens entering our country. That's why our administration has moved aggressively to secure our borders more. It is wrong and ultimately self-defeating for a nation of immigrants to permit the kind of abuse of our immigration laws we have seen in recent years, and we must do more to stop it.
Things changed in 2015 when then-candidate Trump made border security a key platform of his campaign.
But we're building the wall. It's the most powerful and comprehensive border wall structure anywhere in the world. Just so you know, we're building the wall anyway. We're going to build the wall. We have no choice. This barrier is absolutely critical to border security. It's also what our professionals at the border want and need. This is just common sense. The border wall would very quickly pay for itself.
Democrats flipped on the issue and refused to acknowledge the crisis on our border with Mexico. They called President Trump racist and xenophobic for wanting to secure the border, a plan that enjoyed wide bipartisan support less than a decade ago.
It tells you that this president's policies are not about immigration, it's about ethnicity and racism.
A wall is an immorality. It's not who we are as a nation. No, it has nothing to do with politics. It has to do with the wall is an immorality between countries. It's an old way of thinking.
While politicians in Washington fight over border security, the men and women of border control work around the clock to keep our citizens, our communities, and our country safe.
You hear a lot in the news about people saying that there's a caravan coming to California or here, there, and everywhere. The reality is here in the Rio Grande Valley, we would see the equivalent of multiple caravans a week, and at times upwards of 2,000 per day just at one station, which is in itself the equivalent of a caravan. It's gotten to the point where we have, just behind me, you have this card table, and we've had to set up little places like this along the river so that we could do the initial processing of the people right here in the field.
It would normally be thought that people that were seeking asylum would come to a port of entry and ask for asylum legally, but they don't do that. The main reason that they don't do that is because the criminal cartels that control all smuggling in this area, they force the asylum seekers to cross the border across the Rio Grande River about a mile from here. The reason that the cartels force them to do that is because they know that it will cause our resources to be deployed to those areas where they're crossing large groups of people. We pull agents out of the field, which then creates artificial gaps in our coverage, which allows the cartels to cross their higher value products, such as opioids or even criminal aliens, into the United States.
Just a couple hundred yards from here, we have the Mexico-US border. This area had been extremely notorious for the amounts of drugs that are entering the country. You will hear many times that the drugs don't stay here on the actual border towns. And that is 100% correct. What happens is, and what everyone out there needs to truly understand is, these drugs like black tar heroin, methamphetamines, and fentanyl that are crossing into the United States border in these very areas are going into suburban America, affecting our kids in our junior highs and our high schools.
The state of our border is not secure. I know that everybody likes to believe that it's a made-up crisis. It's not a made-up crisis. It's never been a made-up crisis. It's something that's been real. It's something that people just kind of hide for the real American people. The people that live in the middle of the country, the people who live in the northern part of the country, they're not aware of what we see every day. I personally have a brother that's here in McAllen. He sees this stuff every day, and he pretty much the same thing. He'll tell you the same thing that I'm sitting here and telling you, that this border is not secure.
It's not about humanitarianism, it's about people smart enough to know where they're going, and the cartel has given these people false hope of how easy it is to get to Phoenix or Denver or New York even. And they don't care. It's a commodity, it's a product. They're getting $6,000 a head now to bring them in illegally. So, you know, there's a lot of money involved in this. And that's what the border's become, is it's not about immigration anymore, it's about smuggling. And smuggling leads to power and money. And America can't seem to figure that out. They think it's a humanitarian crisis.
So what Border Patrol agents do is they look for disturbances in the ground. It's called sign cutting. They're looking for footprints. And what we'll do is we'll follow these footprints. If the cameras have lost sight of the individuals, we'll follow these footprints and we'll actually track the narcotic smugglers and the illegal aliens. Because the cartels have evolved so much, they've started to wear these carpet shoes, where they'll put them on and they'll walk through the desert with these carpet shoes, and these shoes will not leave any tracks in the ground at all, which then makes it much more difficult for us to find them. Again, leading to why walls are so necessary. As long as we can keep people from crossing the border, we can control the border and we can get rid of all of the tactics that the cartels and drug smugglers are using. Right down south of where we're at, you can see where a new wall was constructed, that wall has been extremely effective for this area. When I worked here, I used to chase people through this area on a daily basis. I would catch both narcotics and illegal aliens that were being smuggled into the United States on a daily basis. Since that wall went up, we have dropped down, the apprehensions in this area has dropped down to nearly nothing. We basically do not have any traffic through here at all anymore. So you can see absolutely how effective these physical walls are.
Where a wall comes in is it's not a one-stop shopping that's going to give you everything you need. It's more like a tool in your toolbox. It's your hammer, but you also need other tools to go along with it. It is very good for force multiplying. It acts as a funnel point to get people where we want them to go so that it's easier for us to apprehend them and safer for us to apprehend them, for us, for them, and for the general public.
This is the way that we have worked for years, and it's proven to be very effective. As we've gotten more technology, more cameras, more walls, more sensors, it's allowed us to determine where these individuals are. The brush is very thick and it's very easy for them to hide in the brush, which will then make it more difficult for us to follow their footprints or what we call their sign. But as long as we have the proper resources, the canines, the cameras, the sensors, and even at times helicopters, when we have those resources, it allows us to be a lot more effective, and we become a much more effective agency than what it was when I first entered the Border Patrol 22 years ago.
Well, my message to Congress would be that, first of all, they need to get on the same page when it comes to border security. I've said it many times before. It doesn't matter whether you're on the right side of the aisle or the left side of the aisle. Everybody wants to feel secure in their homes. Everyone wants to be secure in their homes. And the right way to do it is to also feel secure at our nation's borders. When we talk about border security, when we talk about the wall, it should not have to have anything to do with just a certain political party. Everyone needs to get on the same page because everyone deserves to be safe in their home and in their country.
I believe in process. I believe in the rule of law. I worry, I'll just be honest with you, after 35 years of work in law enforcement, a lot of our issues on this southwest border and beyond are right on the shoulders of members of Congress that are trying to erode the rule of law. When you police with politics, you police by opinions, you police with emotions, the rule of law will fail you every time.
Get to work. You know, I mean, do your job. At the end of the day, that's Republican, Democrat, somewhere in the middle. I don't care. I mean, I don't think most people care. I think most people are either left or right of center, right there in the middle. You guys need to learn to work together, get to work, and if you can't, move out and get somebody in there who can. I mean, there's issues on the table, and you guys aren't concerned about the issues on the table. You're concerned about what color hat you're wearing, and you got to check that hat at the door, get in there, solve the problem, or get the hell out.
This has been an extremely effective tool for the Border Patrol. I can tell you personally, as the president of the National Border Patrol Council, how frustrated I get when I hear Congress debating as if they're experts on what we need for the border. The experts have spoken many times on exactly what we need, and it's tools like these that help us secure the border. And if Congress doesn't step up to the plate and actually give us the resources that we need, we're going to constantly be talking about border security for many more years. We don't have to continue to talk about that. We can stop and end this debate. Just give us the resources we need.
Get off your high horse. Get off your bickering. Get off of I'm right, you're wrong, you're right, you're wrong, and fix the situation that we're in. It is a crisis. It's going to continue. You know, it puts a burden on this country, financially, every which way you want to look at it. I understand that people come to this country to find their dream, just like everybody else has. But there has to be limitations. There has to be rules that are followed. There has to be the right door that you enter. You don't enter through the back door. You have to come in the right way in order for things to be done right. Everybody will get a shot if things are done right. You know, I mean, I don't know if Congress, I don't know how many homes you pass by that have no windows and no doors. The last time I checked, every home has a window and has a door. There's an entrance. They have to be used.
The crisis on our southern border is very real, and it will take strong leadership, decisive action, and bipartisan cooperation to stem this crisis and keep our country safe.